Your cardiovascular system isn't just about heart attacks, cholesterol, or blood pressure. It's your body's primary transportation system. And when we talk about healing, whether that's healing from a wound, surgery, illness, or even just recovering from stress of aging, this system becomes absolutely critical. Because healing is not magic. Healing requires delivery. Your tissues need oxygen, amino acids, glucose, vitamins and minerals, immune cells, and growth factors. And all of this has to get transported through your blood. So one of the simplest ways to understand healing is this. If blood flow is strong, healing has a chance. If blood flow is poor, healing slows down. And this becomes especially important as we get older. Now here's what's wild. If you took all the blood vessels in the adult human body and laid them end to end, they would stretch roughly 60,000 miles. That's enough to circle the Earth more than 2 times. Your heart pumps around 2,000 gallons of blood every single day. And the smallest blood vessels in your body, the capillaries, are so narrow that the red blood cells often have to pass through them in single file. Those details matter, because when we talk about healing skin, muscle, bone, nerves, or surgical tissue, we're not just talking about the big arteries. We're talking about the tiny microcirculation. Those microscopic blood vessels are where the real exchange happens. That's where oxygen leaves the bloodstream and enters the tissue. That's where nutrients arrive. That's where immune cells get access. That's where waste products are removed. So when someone has a wound that won't heal, or they recover slowly after surgery, or they bruise easily, or their legs swell, we always have to think about circulation. Not just the heart, not just the big arteries, but the entire vascular network. Because healing happens at the level of the cell. And every cell depends on delivery. Now here's where aging changes the equation. As we get older, our arteries tend to become stiff. Blood vessels lose some of their elasticity. That means that blood pressure may rise, and blood flow may not reach the tissues as efficiently. At the same time, older adults may have reduced capillary density. In simple terms, that means fewer tiny functional blood vessels delivering oxygen and nutrients exactly where they are needed. And when the body is under stress, infection, injury, surgery, inflammation, the aging heart may not be able to increase output the same way a younger heart can. That matters because healing is metabolically expensive. Your body has to clean up damaged tissue, it has to bring in immune cells, it has to build collagen, it has to form new blood vessels, it has to remodel tissue over time. That takes energy, that takes raw materials, and it takes circulation. So when people ask, why do older adults heal more slowly? One major reason is the transportation system itself is not as fast, flexible, or responsive as it used to be. And that doesn't mean healing is impossible. It means that we have to support the system more intentionally. One of the most important concepts in healing is angiogenesis. Angiogenesis means the growth of new blood vessels. And this is a critical part of tissue repair. When you have an injury, a wound, or a surgical incision, the body needs to bring new circulation into that area. Because new tissue cannot survive without blood supply. Collagen needs oxygen, immune cells need access, fibroblasts, the cells that help build the structure of healing tissue, need nutrients. And as tissue repair progresses, new capillaries have to grow into the healing areas. This is one of the reasons wounds often look pink or red when they are healing well. That color is not random. It often reflects blood flow and vascular activity. It also reflects the body bringing resources to the area. But with age, angiogenesis tends to slow down. The body does not always grow new blood vessels as quickly or as efficiently, and that can delay healing. This is also why chronic diseases matter so much. High blood sugar can damage the small blood vessels. High blood pressure can injure the vascular system over time. Smoking can reduce oxygen delivery and impair circulation. Peripheral artery disease can limit blood flow to the legs and feet. And when the microvasculature is damaged, the new tissues may be starving for oxygen even if that person is eating enough food. That is a very important point. because nutrition matters deeply. Your protein intake matters, vitamins matter, calories matter, but the nutrition still has to be delivered. You can have the building blocks, but the body still needs a road system. And that road system is your cardiovascular system. This is why in wound care we care so much about pulses, swelling, circulation, diabetes, blood pressure, vascular disease, and mobility. A wound is never just a wound. A wound is a window into the whole body. And in older adults, a slow healing wound may be telling you something about your circulation, inflammation, nutrition, immune function, or metabolic health. Another piece of this is immune cell transport. When the body is injured, white blood cells have to arrive at the site. They help clean up bacteria. They clear up damaged tissue. They coordinate inflammation. But if circulation is sluggish, the immune response may be delayed. That can prolong the inflammatory phase of wound healing. And if inflammation stays elevated for too long, the body can get stuck. Instead of progressing smoothly from inflammation to tissue building to remodeling, the wound may linger in the inflammatory phase. This is one of the patterns we often see in chronic wounds. The body is trying to heal, but it can't fully move forward. So supporting circulation is not just about athletic performance, it's not just about heart health, it is about recovery capacity. It's about the body's ability to respond to stress. And it's about whether the tissue gets what it needs when it needs it. So what can we actually do to support circulation and healing as we age? The goal isn't to hack the body. The goal is to remove the barriers that slow down healing. First, hydration. Blood is a fluid transport system. If someone is dehydrated, blood volume can drop and blood can become more concentrated, and that makes delivery less efficient. Older adults are often underhydrated, especially if they have reduced thirst, take certain medications, or avoid fluids because of urinary issues. So steady hydration really matters. Next, protein and targeted nutrition. Healing tissues require amino acids. So if an older adult is trying to heal from a wound, surgery, or illness, this is not the time for aggressive dieting. This is not the time to undereat protein. Healing requires those raw materials. Third, controlled movement. Movement is one of the most underrated circulation tools we have. When you walk, contract your calves, move your ankles, stand up, or do gentle strength work, you help move blood and fluid through the body. This is especially important for older adults who sit for long periods. The calf muscles are sometimes called a second heart because they help pump blood back up from the legs. That doesn't mean everyone should jump into intense exercise after an injury or surgery. It means that physician-approved movement matters. Walking, gentle mobility, ankle pumps, light strength work, and getting up regularly. These things may seem simple, but they support circulation. They also reduce the risk of complications, like blood clots. Fourth, manage the chronic diseases that damage small vessels. Because the microcirculation is where healing actually happens, if the small blood vessels are damaged, oxygen delivery suffers. If oxygen delivery suffers, tissue repair slows. And if tissue repair slows long enough, an acute wound can become a chronic wound. So the big idea is this. Your cardiovascular system is not separate from healing. It is the delivery system that makes healing possible. Your heart pumps, your arteries distribute, your capillaries exchange, and your veins return. And your cells depend on the entire system working together. So when we talk about recovery in older adults, we need to think beyond the wound, beyond the incision, and beyond the injury. We need to ask, is oxygen getting there? Are nutrients getting there? Are immune cells getting there? Is waste being removed? Is the body getting the signal and the support it needs to rebuild? Because the speed of healing is often limited by the speed of delivery. And that delivery depends on circulation. Support the heart, support the blood vessels, support the muscles, support nutrition, support the whole system. Because healing isn't just about what happens on the surface. Healing is about what happens when the entire body is organized around repair. And that is why circulation really matters. I'll see you in the next video.